Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hi, David. How are you? Hi, Jeff. Hi, Mohammed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's very kind. Hello, everybody. Yeah, good evening. Thank you, Sesk. I don't know how to say that. Sesk. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Hello, hello. Hi, Aditi. Hello, Paul. Hi, Mohammed again. How to start data science with Python. Luckily, my data science pathway most definitely is in Python because I think that's the language to go with. And so what I have linked, I have the data science pathway, which is also in Python. So I would click the link that's in the LinkedIn description there. Bootcamp completed up to deep learning with statistics, machine learning, and classical ML. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's really great to hear. That's going to take you a long way, Ash. Um, Turkey, I think. Hi, how's it going? Related to streaming Spark. Oh, perfect. Yeah, you saw my Spark videos. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully that helped. Hi, Mahendra, I think. Hi, nice to meet you. Sahil, hi, how's it going? Mankesh, hi, Gray. Close enough. Someone in high school used to call me Gray, so that works. FTAB, the topic today is always whatever you guys make the topic. So choose the topic, figure out or ask a question that'll guide me on what I'm going to say. The best tools to practice data science. Um, so if you mean learn data science, then I have my pathway in the description. You could take a look at that. Regarding particularly practicing, practicing is best done through just doing stuff on your own, like just making projects, just building models, doing whatever it is that you want to do with it. Good evening, Rohit. I'm good, Sumedu. Thank you for asking. Oh, sorry, I clicked the button by accident. Do I want to record the session? I always record the sessions. They record themselves. Like it's I mean you're from LinkedIn, Katanash, and so I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, LinkedIn records it as well. You can actually go back and view uh the LinkedIn video on the post that gets attached. But YouTube is meant for videos, and YouTube always records it. So, Katanash, if you're not on my YouTube channel as well, maybe you could check that out, and you'll see quite a few recordings there. Jupyter and R Studio. Uh, oh, if you mean tools as in like, yeah. If you meant actually like data science tools, like to do data science, then 100%, yeah, Jupyter for mainly Python. Technically, you can use other things, although it's mostly used for Python. And yes, R people mostly use RStudio. That's correct. Thank you, FTAP. I appreciate that. Hi, Ravi. Hi. Again, we're going to cover whatever you'd like to cover. Now where to start from projects. Right, I will go back to your other message so that lines up. So you're in a boot camp, completed up to deep learning with statistics, machine learning, and classical machine learning. And now where to start from projects like to do natural language processing or learn cloud, Hadoop, because tools just finish. So essentially, I would click the link that I have attached for the pathway there, and see the things that you already know. Check out all of the courses that I have suggested. And sorry, 1 second. Yeah, see the courses that I have suggested in there, and then kind of see what you're missing. And I have that pathway designed really strongly and nice and complete for a reason. And I also included some like extra bonus courses after. And so I would recommend kind of filling in some gaps, maybe going a little bit further into right where you are. Yeah, cloud is definitely a good idea. And so near the end of the pathway or the last two steps, I have kind of the two courses that I'd recommend, strongly recommend to do AWS and then AWS data science particularly. In machine learning. So, should I focus on portfolio? You can always focus on your portfolio whenever you want to. Sometimes people push that off because it's kind of, you're going off on your own and doing things, which is incredibly valuable. But sometimes, people just want like a strict pathway of like do this, then that, then that, then that, then that. And then, eventually at some point, you're going to have to go off on your own, whatever that may mean for you. But focus on your portfolio whenever you want to, whenever you feel like it, from the very beginning, from the middle, from whatever you think might be the end. There's not really an end. But yeah, work on your portfolio whenever you feel like it. And don't feel like you really have to move away from these courses. There seems to be a lot of people like getting annoyed at these online courses, which I don't completely understand because I think, sorry, 1 second. Like these courses provide a ton of value. And of course, I agree with the argument of you have to go off on your own and learn things and do things by yourself. But that also, people kind of hating on them also puts a lot of pressure for people to not do too many courses. And I don't really appreciate that. I think the courses are extremely helpful and they'll really push you more and more in the right direction. Can I do a review of the MIT MicroMasters? Have I done that? MicroMasters. That's not the EDX course, right? I forget. There's so many courses, and I forget what I've reviewed and what I haven't. If I haven't, I will take a look at that, and I might do that. Yeah. Hi Arshia, I saw you somewhere in there. I will get to it soon. Hi Vachan. How's it going? Hello. PySpark with SQL is one of my favorites. Yes, it is a heart. It deserves the heart. Jeff, which are the must-know machine learning models and which are useful but not necessary to know about? Um, the must-know machine learning models are linear regression, logistic regression. Um, to use, you definitely have to be able to use uh, the random forests, gradient boosting, and XGBoost. And you don't necessarily have to know how they work, although Andrew Ng now officially agrees that you should know how all of those tree-based models work. And so he has that in his machine learning course. And definitely neural networks. Okay, so I would say what you should definitely try to understand, like most of the inner workings of, is linear regression, logistic regression, uh, and neural networks for sure. K-nearest neighbors, KNN is, you might as well because I don't think it'll take too long. You just kind of have to read about it, and hopefully it should make some intuitive sense. At least if you've taken, any bit of probability, it kind of just makes sense. Um, And then for the unsupervised learning models, I would get a feel for what k-means and dbScan do for clustering. If you want to go into uh, well, sorry, dimensionality reduction as well, definitely about PCA, and uh, probably an autoencoder, although that's getting pretty in depth. And then recommendation systems are I'm actually going to start stepping into those a little further myself. Um, yeah, that's what I would try to really understand the inner workings of linear regression, logistic regression, neural networks, PCA, and maybe an autoencoder are, I think, really the things that aren't too nasty to go into some of the details. I mean, of course, the neural networks, if you want to learn all of the neural network stuff, then it is a lot, but you learn quite a bit by going through like not necessarily the full derivation of back propagation through a neural network, um, but through understanding how a neural network trains. It applies to, at least directly or indirectly, to many machine learning models. So I think it's really worth the practice. And in terms of the one that people use, but you don't have to know about, yeah, random forests, XGBoost, and really any machine learning model that you may not know too much about. A support vector machine, you don't need to know the inner workings of that. Um, Naive Bayes, you really don't need to know the inner workings of that, in my opinion. Of course, if you were to take a course in machine learning, and I mean like a full on like university level course, like you're going to go through everything. You'll see all of those models most likely, and probably go into the details of most of them. So it's a little bit tough for me to say which ones you should and which ones you shouldn't. But that's my list. At least definitely linear regression, logistic regression, and because of the explosion of deep learning and its applicability to, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it, and its ability to be applied elsewhere, neural networks for sure. Prerequisites of, let me try and find your previous question. I wish there was a button for that in my system here. If I could just quickly jump to the previous question from the same person. I saw it before. Rohit. Oh, good eve. That's not exactly a question. Um, okay, I'm not seeing something else. Maybe my system broke, or maybe um, just missing a little bit information. But prerequisites to learning data science or machine learning, I would strongly recommend just taking the full pathway, or at least looking at the prerequisites in the pathway that I've listed in the description there. Click that link, that will show you my opinion of the prerequisites. Do you think so many people picking data science as a career can make it less valuable? Well, I guess it's a yes and no. Uh, in general, no. The act of someone taking an existent job that is available and people require someone for, all that does is fills up a spot. And of course you can kind of move around and fill up other spots in other companies, or do other things. But people learning things that are necessary for particular jobs does not make something less valuable. But of course, that's kind of at the micro scale. You're talking about a single person. If you are kind of considering what the important question is, as you said, if everybody is picking data science, does that make it less valuable for everybody? Well, it does fill up a lot of spots for sure, and so you kind of have to be the one that fills up the best spot possible. And I'm not saying that you have to be the absolute king, or king or queen or whatever of data science to get any sort of a job and to be valuable. But any strongly motivated, and sort of like an influencer you would look up to, uh, they would strongly recommend that you just power through and you become an absolute beast of just learning everything that you can. And if that's in data science, then it's in data science. And getting the certifications, if you think that's helpful. Academic institutions is always helpful. Um, just learning things, and that's why the certifications are helpful, because they prove that you've learned things. um, then yes, that will take you a long way. So I think it's kind of a yes and a no. Yeah, get no at the micro scale because one person fills up one job, but yes at the macro scale because there's only so many opportunities. Nonetheless, I want to leave it for sure as if you like do not feel at all unmotivated by what I just said, you should feel strongly motivated that there is so many great occupancies for positions that people needed to take. Sorry. And companies, by all means, don't have time to filter through and find the absolute monstrosity of a candidate for every single job. You can be, anywhere if you're considering a normal distribution of skills, which is kind of difficult to do that. But pretend you have like a one axis of skill sets. You just have, really high skill and then low skill. Um, Companies will pick up many candidates in the middle of that for jobs. Of course, they strive to find the highest, but it's not always feasible anyway. And so you should feel pretty good about yourself if you follow the pathway. Like seriously, I have that pathway so that for a complete beginner, you can learn like 99% of the skills that these companies are looking for, and then I have bonus courses in those pathways that are basically like just keep going, keep learning, and you'll get there. And of course, learn your own stuff, go off and do your own thing. I found a ton of passion mostly, but of course success in just going off and building things like, hey, today I want to investigate the stock market with data science, and so I'm going to do that. Make some confidence intervals, make some forecasting, whatever you want to do. Okay. So be motivated. There's a ton of opportunities. Follow the pathway. In my opinion, there's of course multiple pathways, but I would strongly recommend that one, and you'll be just fine. Actually, one more thing. Make sure you apply a lot, because a lot of people kind of tend to apply to a few jobs like over the course of a few months, and then start complaining about how there's no, you're not getting any luck. Like if I wanted to get a job tomorrow, I would spend the next 12 hours. Of course, take some breaks and don't burn your eyes out. Um, but in general, I'd spend the next 12 hours of clicking and applying to jobs, and it would work because although the laws of probability don't exactly say you can just sum up all of the individual probabilities of getting a job, it's a little more complicated than that. It still, in general, kind of approximates that idea of if you click more and more and keep applying to more and more jobs, you are essentially just increasing a probability every single time that you apply. And so I would recommend doing that. And if you want to know how I apply to jobs, I did make a video a couple weeks back now. That's I have like Fang stuff all over the thumbnail for the catchiness, but it's true. They have a lot of jobs in the process that I show in that video. So if you want to see how I show or how I apply to jobs, then I would watch that video. Perfect. You're very welcome. Call you Alex. Okay. Hi, Alex. New to data science, but practice projects on your computer. Oh, sorry, computer vision, machine learning, and deep learning. Okay, perfect. Yep, that sounds great to me. Prerequisites. I think I already covered that. Data science or MERN. What is MERN? I don't know what that is. Review of 2022 Python for Machine Learning and Data Science Masterclass by Jose Portilla. I didn't know he updated it in 2022. People love that course, and so absolutely go for it. I don't usually recommend Udemy because first of all, they're very kind of interesting in the way they do sales. Like their course is on sale like 99% of the time, and then sometimes it's not. So make sure you buy it on sale if you are going to get that course. But I always recommend Coursera because I feel like they have all of the equivalents, but they they're always able to be free if you want them to be free, and then you pay for the certificate if you want to. Um, So that's my reasoning for usually recommending Coursera, as well as just more material in general and better. But many people love the Jose Portilla course. I have been strongly recommended that by many people over time. And if it's updated for 2022, then I'm sure you will learn a lot from that course for sure. Please guide on projects suitable for CV/resume, something that can impress more on Python side. I For those of you that know me, I always give an irritating answer to the projects one, and it's because I have to. I cannot tell you some cool projects that you should go out and do. If I had something phenomenal, I would probably do it myself. And if you, I don't know what you're interested in and what you're passionate about, exactly all the skills that you have. It's kind of silly for me to say give a particular project and say like, hey, you should go out and do this to improve your resume. um, First of all, there's a 99% guarantee that what I would say right now has already been done, uh, nearly exactly. And you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel every single time that you do anything to impress someone for a resume. But in general, you should do something that you're passionate about, what you're interested in, um, and that would take you pretty far. So sorry, I won't be giving any particular project ideas, but go out, think about the things that you're excited about, um, and build something that you care about. Doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. Hopefully, it's useful or pretty looking or cool, and that would be helpful. Hello, hi Arshia. Finally got to it. Sorry. How to build a data science portfolio. Should I have a website or a GitHub profile? What kind of projects are involved in data science? So you can build a portfolio through multiple means. Um, it's very blatant that I have a portfolio that is covered fully through social media. So YouTube and LinkedIn mostly, GitHub, a little bit. um, GitHub profile is always good for anyone developing. You should probably have something, whether that's your absolute, main piece, main website of yours, up to you. Um, but I would recommend having some sort of GitHub with something there in general, whether it's even if it's simply just a link to something else. I would probably have it, and most likely, you know, some sort of code there as well in a couple projects. But you don't have to build a portfolio through GitHub, although that's pretty common. Um, you know, YouTube and LinkedIn, those are great platforms. Um, any social media really is a great platform. Your own website, whether that's something simple through like a website builder like Wix or the other one, whatever that's called. There's a bunch of them. Whether it's something through like one of those, WordPress is what I was looking for. Um, Whether it's something simple like one of those, or something that you want to build yourself, like through the HTML and JavaScript, or maybe you could even use Django or Flask, one of those Python libraries. Those JavaScript libraries, of course, like React is probably the most common. All of those are those are kind of different things, by the way. React is front end and Django and Flask are back end. But it all kind of ties together. If you were to make a website, then yeah, you could do that. Of course, there's multiple ways to build a portfolio, and you don't necessarily, if you are going through LinkedIn, you don't necessarily have to focus on followers. Like, of course, mine has more followers than the average, which helps, but that doesn't necessarily have to be how you build a LinkedIn profile. There's lots of people that have a very small number of followers, but you can, once you go to their LinkedIn profile, you go, darn, that's pretty awesome that they've done that. Um, your portfolio is you, and you can build it up however you see fit, really. Just focus on the things that you want to do, the person that you want to be, and your LinkedIn will kind of follow. Make sure that it does follow, because you actually have to add those things as you go and present them well. But it kind of follows who you are as a person. Please explain which concepts like unsupervised machine learning should be mastered before entering data science. Uh, well, okay, it's a little bit of an interesting question. So, firstly, nothing has to be mastered. You just have to kind of learn about some pieces. Um, Skills in unsupervised learning, I think you should have are definitely clustering. So, a couple of the clustering algorithms, DBScan and K-means, would be very helpful. Maybe a bit about dimensionality reduction, so PCA and an autoencoder, and then recommendation systems. So a couple of those algorithms, uh, at least basic ones, would be very beneficial as well. You can always write things down. Things always get recorded, so you can go back to my YouTube channel and find this. You can go back to LinkedIn as well and find this. But of course, if you want to write some notes, or have been since 18 minutes ago, then of course you could do that. Yep, already answered that. Do I know any good product data science course or books? I don't know what that means. Product data science course or books. Nope, don't know what that means. Sorry. How to show our SQL projects are mentioned in resume, because for Python we get Jupyter file, but it's not the case with SQL. There's multiple ways to do SQL in Jupyter itself, which is probably what I would suggest. You can call SQL through Spark, through the magical commands in Jupyter, I believe. I don't think I've ever done it, but I believe you can have actual SQL cells in Jupyter. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong there, but I would probably still put it in Jupyter and then use a programming language to interface with it. Yes. Some good books for beginners. I will answer that, which is, I'm blanking today, having trouble remembering some things. Introduction to Statistical Learning with applications in R. You can skip the applications in R if you want. I would strongly recommend that book. Okay, I am not answering your questions because you seem to have wrote it 50 times and spammed the chat. So sorry, I'm actually going to be blocking you. I believe you can't ask the same question over and over again. Actually, I'll do a timeout. Sorry about that. I had to do that, but that is too many times for sure. Okay. Is Google Data Science Certificate good to proceed for data science intern? Yeah, of course. What the problem is it steers you in the direction of R, which is it's not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, R is a suitable language for data science and analytics, but I will tell you that the standard for data scientists is Python at this point, and it's progressing further and further into that. So I'd be a little bit cautious of that in particular. But of course, you will learn many valid skills. You can always learn R and Python. I've gone relatively far into both, and you kind of pick one as you see fit. But I would recommend the IBM data science over it because it goes into Python. Okay, I'm going to take a drink while reading that. I don't think I know what MIS is. Major at UT Austin. So far learned basics about R, SQL, Python, etc. C# apparently next semester. Okay. What's a good starting point for me to learn more about analytics? Cloud is super cool too. Yeah, don't worry. You will, if you go into analytics, you will go into cloud as well. And not necessarily, but likely, if you go into cloud, you'll go into some sort of analytics as well if you're interested in it. So, what's a good starting point? Well, I have the pathway that's linked in the LinkedIn description there, as well as YouTube. I would click one of those videos, data science or analytics, and I would kind of follow that pathway and see what I have suggested. Cloud is super cool. Yeah, at the end of the pathway for the data science pathway, I have some cloud stuff with data science as well in that pathway. What kind of model is a car parking itself? So often they use reinforcement learning, not always. You don't have to. You can do kind of traditional computer vision learning systems. But nowadays, I believe the majority of self-driving cars, at least not necessarily Tesla's stuff, um, but at least a simulation, if you're to see a simulation online, it's likely that it uses some sort of reinforcement learning technique. Although I don't know what's in Tesla, there's, it probably has some. Actually, it might fully be just a supervised learning model, doing things with, seeing cameras, making actions at any time, and not necessarily any strict learning from the. Well, it's tricky how to say it because it certainly learns from the environment as it goes. But reinforcement learning versus a traditional supervised learning system does have a little bit of a difference. But no, usually they mix. I would say you'd likely mix a little bit of reinforcement learning with many computer vision systems, which likely use neural networks, either traditional types of convolutional neural networks, or transformers, which are a little bit more modern and proving quite powerful. Do I need to master deep learning in order to work as a data analyst? No. If you said data scientist, I would say yes. If you're saying data analyst, I would say no. If you want to see my recommended pathways, I would click those links and they would be waiting for you. Hello. You're welcome. Currently doing the machine learning specialization and learning about neural networks. Great to hear. Enjoying it very much. Awesome. Thoughts on the specialization? Really good. I think that's machine learning. Andrew Ng's new machine learning specialization, just for everyone listening, is going to be very very beneficial. I love how he kind of looked into saw the feedback that people are giving, advancements in the field, and what machine learning practitioners have really started using. Most notably the tree-based models, and a little bit further into neural networks in that course. And it's very beneficial for sure. It's gonna be great. Does Google's data science certificate a good way for internal jobs? I already answered that. Greg, do you believe that you should have a master's degree in order to work as a data analyst in your country? I don't know what your country is. I got scammed learning SQL and pandas and all that. Scammed by learning very popular languages and libraries? No. Sorry, I have to strongly disagree with what's provided here. This is not a scam at all. That those are very beneficial tools that you'll be learning. Um, and no, you don't necessarily have to have a master's degree, although it may be beneficial. SQL and pandas are very useful. Okay. Okay. Having an interview for a student assistant in what I'm assuming is machine learning engineering department. Can I give some tips on how to prepare for the interview? An interview for a student assistant in machine learning engineering. Um, okay, I would make sure you know all those fundamentals like bias, variance, trade-off, underfitting, and overfitting. It really means the same thing. Basic coding skills. If you can, brush up on your lead code level skills, not help. Sorry, it wouldn't hurt at all. Like how to train a neural network, various types of neural networks, all of those fundamental skills. Just make sure that you can explain them well. Practice explaining them. Do go off on your own and just start like coding things, building things, and it'll refresh all the memory on that. What's entry level as a data scientist work look like? Pretty much what I was just referring to actually in this question on how to prepare for that. It would look pretty much like, maybe, well, it's okay. So I can't say what it would look like. There's many, 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 many different data scientist jobs. Some things it could be are they have a machine learning model that they have in mind, or at least a lot of data that they have in mind that may be good for machine learning. And so they might give you that. Maybe even into just data engineering. So, like, kind of moving data around, putting it in the right place, doing analytics on it. Of course, just analytics in general. Maybe like some sort of a dashboard. So, improving like the user experience of viewing their data and highlighting some areas of concern and being able to manipulate that easy through a front end would be helpful. Maybe even some sort of a website. Who knows? You might be in charge of like a simple Flask or Fast API type of API. So some sort of a backend linking to some data science or analytics or machine learning. There's a lot of different opportunities there for sure. You're very welcome. I'm going to take just a 15-second break, and I will be back very soon. I think I have this funny thing that I showed last time. Let me see if I can do that again. Yeah, 30-second countdown, and I can apparently loop this. So you're going to be stuck watching this. Okay, that was probably a little bit jarring. I'm just randomly back at the 13-second mark, but I'm happy I saw how to do that loop thing because before I just had it going for 30 seconds and then it would just show like nothing here and then it would show up later. Okay, thank you for waiting. Sorry about that. All right, my opinion on computer vision engineer as a career, job opportunities in current scenario and future opportunities. Tons of current, tons of future. How much calculus 2 and 3 do I use in my everyday work? Okay, just for everyone listening, calculus 1 is usually about differentiating. Whoa, my green screen just randomly disappeared. Whoa. Okay, yeah, I got some sort of a glitch over here. Where'd you go, background? I'm all in the darkness now. This is odd. Let's try that. Nope. Okay. Well, I've never seen that happen. It's some sort of a glitch on my software. I guess you're seeing black, and I'm surprised you're not seeing green, to be honest, and instead of black. But okay, I guess I'll carry forward with that. Calculus 1 is about differentiating functions and just about graphs and functions in general. Calculus 2 is usually about integrating, so going the reverse direction. Instead of taking the derivative of a function, you would take the integral of a function and do things associated with that. And then calculus 3 is essentially, instead of just doing that with one variable, you would do that with multiple variables. And so when your algebra gets involved. I'd say calculus 2 next to 0, calculus 3 relatively common because pretty much everything is in multiple dimensions, and taking derivatives is a little more common in machine learning than taking integrals for optimization purposes. All that high school stuff about taking derivatives to minimize functions comes back into play, and so it's mostly calculus 1 and calculus 3, very little calculus 2. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself 4 years ago, that would be cool. Yeah, I would tell myself to probably work harder. I would strongly advise data engineering instead of data science. Okay, Up to you. Yeah, they're both jobs. Whatever makes you happy, really. Whatever is interesting. Hello. What he meant was, as of now, data scientists are quite rare, and I don't want to say they're quite rare, but really good ones are kind of rare. Companies prefer less number of data scientists. Well, companies prefer whatever amount of data scientists they require for their positions. Whenever something opens up, then something opens up. If something closes down, then it closes down as well. In future, so many data scientists are generated, and companies prefer more number of data scientists with less pay. And I've never been more pumped about data scientists than now. You watched every video. That's a lot of videos. I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you so much for the continued support. Um, in terms of the question, I'm not sure if I completely agree with every piece here, um, or I'm just not understanding it very well. The piece about in future, so many data scientists are generated. Yes, many people are learning data science, and companies prefer more number of data scientists with less pay. Well, not necessarily. Companies kind of, big companies are generally monopolies, and big companies that are monopolies kind of hire in a monopolistic manner as well at times. That's why we pay very high, or companies pay very, very high for either data scientists or software engineers or many other positions as well, mainly those in tech. Um, yeah, they would pay very, very high for one engineer. And essentially, like, think about it. If you're Google paying $200,000 for sometimes an entry level role for a single person, well, that's totally correct that they could hire genuinely like 20, maybe even 100 uh, worse, most likely worse, engineers to work in that similar role. So, do they want 100 people in a role that are decent and could get, each individually put some work together? Or would they rather one person that could uh, do everything themselves? We've seen through history and definitely currently that companies go with hiring the one person, and that's for multiple reasons. That's because, well, one, they're more skilled. It's also because they, you know, companies don't like a lot of people being in companies. They start to need a lot of people because they are big companies, but they don't like having a lot of employees around, because the more, like, if you go back to, like, say, the Apple days of just the two Steves, for example, you know, it was simply divided into, like, Steve Jobs would do most of the business and advertising like stuff, get people super hyped about these products, and saying where he wants things to go, and Wozniak would just build things like that. That was the distribution. And so it was very easy. Of course, that working with Jobs is not easy, but in general, like, the division of labor gets very, very simple, and coordinating things is very easy. uh, but if you were to stretch that over to, you had 100 engineers working the same job versus just one, then the one will do a much, much better job because they can interface with all of the other teams very simply. Like, you know your place, what you have to do, the things that you've been assigned. That's why we have things like Jira that are very popular for ticketing on what people have to do. And so that one person would do it. And so I certainly don't agree with companies prefer more number of data scientists with less pay. There may be times when that is true, but in general, as a philosophy for companies, they seem to not go down that route most of the time. Hi, just wanted to thank you. You're very welcome. The Flask with deployment helped a lot. Perfect. I'm very glad to hear that. Yes. Not sure. Do I think general computer science stuff like parallel and distributed computing theory, low level programming, can be beneficial for a data scientist? Yes, I do. Essentially, or sorry, especially parallel and distributed computing. Low-level programming, like if you're talking assembly or C, uh, usually a little less so, although certainly NVIDIA in particular would be very happy to have your skills. Also in the parallel and distributed computing as well. For the traditional person that's just and company that's just using analytics to provide value to data, generally you don't need to go down that route. But for some of these companies that work low level, like Nvidia, AMD, Intel, Qualcomm, those types of companies would definitely, and also Apple at times as well, would certainly benefit from those skills. Yes. You feel like you're wasting time at university. I mean, if you're at university, then you're not exactly wasting time. You're getting a degree. Um, but of course, there can be things that you can optimize for sure. Not stuff related to data science and machine learning directly. Obviously, stuff like databases and AI and ML is beneficial. Want to know about the rest? Yeah, I mean, I think my answer probably did that relatively well. Let me know if it didn't. Hello. I don't know if you will agree with me, but if you could go back in time, I would tell yourself to be a data engineer. Yes, I saw that before, and I actually did. Someone else write that? Oh, wait. Why? I'm so con. Is this the same person? Are you the same person that's on YouTube and LinkedIn? Because it's a very similar comment. I'm very confused. But data engineer is a pathway. Data scientist is a pathway. They're all about learning things and becoming, getting a particular type of job. Do whatever, aim at whatever you think you would like to do. Percy Jackson 42, thank you for waiting. Sorry to take 23 minutes here. You will get blocked if you send the same question 33 times. Yes, actually, I think I just put them on a timeout only. I was really close to blocking. I've never seen that amount of spam. And I'm absolutely amazed that I think it was YouTube and not LinkedIn. I'm absolutely amazed that those platforms are going to allow the same person to write the same question 33 times. And I don't know if that's actually what the number was, although I would totally believe that that was the number. Way too much. Hi, how's it going? Thank you for becoming a member of the YouTube channel. I really appreciate the support. Is it normal to forget codes while working on code? Yes. Yes. Look up syntax all the time. It's fine. Good thing you find that question interesting. You're about to see it over and over and over again. Yeah, I certainly did. I certainly did. Uh, Great to hear. Could I also do a video on the best universities to pursue Masters of Data Science in the USA? It's well known throughout all places of the world, pretty much, what universities are good to go to in the United States. I don't think I have to list them if you really want me to. MIT, Harvard, um, I don't know. I'm even blanking, but the big ones that everyone would want to go to, pretty much. Yeah. Hello, world, Randy. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Juan. I think. Thank you so much. Hello. Buffering. This live streaming will be available in YouTube for sure. You're very welcome. Spark can use SQL. I'm not sure if do SQL is the right word, although it's pretty safe to say can do SQL. I would say can use or interface with SQL. Do I do live sessions of mine doing a Kaggle competition? Or can I? I'm not a big fan of live coding because it's just a way to mess up. Because videos, you can kind of go back and fix everything and make sure that you want to do can do what you want to do. And live stream, I like just answering questions because unless I don't know the answer or I happen to misspeak, then I'm not going to get something wrong. Um, I would just watch my video on submitting to a Kaggle competition that I posted probably a month or two ago now, and that should probably show you how to do that. Management information systems. I don't know if I'm missing other pieces. What's the best product analyst course or book, and where can you learn A/B testing? Um, I don't really know about product analytics in particular. Uh, it's not really my area of domain. A/B testing, it's essentially just hypothesis testing. And so I would learn what hypothesis testing is and then go off and just read about A/B testing. And I think it'll probably make sense. Things are tough. I finished 2 specialization courses for data science, SQL and ML, and all that, and have a bachelor's degree in business intelligence. I didn't even know that was a thing in bachelor's, but cool. That's very cool. Yet couldn't land an internship. Help. Yep, that happens. Keep trying, keep applying, keep learning, keep doing whatever you can to be better at what you already are, and you will get there. I promise. Do I know a book or notebook to learn how to make good feature engineering? Uh, do I know a book or notebook to learn how to make good feature engineering? Good book or no? Oh, okay, okay. Um, Feature engineering in particular, I have a video of that on YouTube. A notebook, I can't think of a particular notebook, although I guarantee you there are some. The best thing to do to learn feature engineering, and they may or may not call that, is look at some of the best answers in Kaggle itself. Look at the notebooks on Kaggle, and they will describe to you the things that they're doing and why they're having such an effect. You're very welcome. Thank you for the support. See ya. Which book should I refer to for C++? There is lots of very famous C++ books. I believe the author of C++ has a book or two on that, and I would probably just read those if that's what you're trying to do. Yes, it will be. Is the basic roadmap for computer vision with deep learning same as ML pathway video? Yeah, the pathway that I have in the description, that is still what I would recommend to go through computer vision. And then after that, I have, after you've gone through that basic data science machine learning pathway, there's some additional courses, and make sure you take the computer vision courses. But even then, you will still hit computer vision in that pathway at generally the level that is required, or at least will really push you in the right direction. Also, for computer vision, I would recommend the object detection stuff, which isn't really covered in the main pipeline, or in the main pathway. And so that should be in one of the additional courses. I forget which one it's called. It's either TensorFlow Advanced or Computer Vision. It might just be called Computer Vision with TensorFlow. Make sure you learn those object detections frameworks somehow. As you are new in YouTube, how can you use YouTube to boost our career in data? What kind of content to share? Any recommendations? Anything that you are passionate about, anything that you think you've done that is cool, whether you're talking about a full walkthrough on how to code it or maybe a summarized just showcase of what you've done. There is, especially in something like video games, people very often show that on YouTube of what they've done for analytics in video games, and of course all other things. And so, I'm using YouTube as a way just to show like everything I've got and everything I continue to obtain, and just build up over time. You don't necessarily have to take it to the same level. I'm not sure if I planned on taking it to this level at the beginning, but yeah, there's YouTube is for sharing videos, and so share something cool if you have yet to do. I'm not saying you have yet to do something cool, but if you're planning on making something interesting, some sort of analytics or dashboard or something, show it on YouTube. Show how to do it. Show what it does. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. Need a roadmap to become a data scientist? Well, check the description of the LinkedIn there, and you will see a roadmap to become a data scientist. Take that from beginning to end, and you are set. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate that. You're very welcome. Hello. How can I master a module of machine learning in a week? There's not really a good way to answer that. I have no idea. Please give us a piece of information about ML ops. piece of information. It's about deploying things and how machine learning works in companies, and uh, even just GitHub and Git skills often come into play. And I would take the machine learning ops course by Andrew Ng. It's about step 7 or something in my pathway that you can check there if you want to learn more about that. Woot, Georgia Tech. um, what is the difference between a business analyst and a data analyst and a data scientist? About to start your MBA in business analytics, what software should I focus more on? So data analytics is very broad, doing analytics on data, averages, standard deviations, variances, transformations of data, um, often moving data and getting it to the right place. Data science usually involves all of those things that an analyst might do. By the way, I should really say the word visualization. Data analysts will often use visualization techniques and business intelligence techniques. And data science is usually implying machine learning. I certainly make it imply machine learning. And so that's really the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist. They both do analytics, SQL, Python, R, some sort of transformation and analytics. And then a data scientist usually knows how to do machine learning and deep learning techniques. A business analyst is kind of all of those same ideas, except, well, strictly in kind of a business like manner. And so you're going to be more into those businessy terms. Um, you likely will be, it has more of a Power BI and Tableau vibe to it. Also, Excel, it also has generally an Excel vibe. Um, and just kind of all those same techniques, but maybe a little less rigorous at times and a little more into, well, business, as it says. It can mean a lot of different things, and you have to see each of the jobs themselves and see if there's something that you care about, if there's something you want to go learn about or apply to. Slept through the data structures courses. I would go back to them at some point. I don't blame you for sleeping through them at times, um, but it would be useful to come back to. Ah, management and MIS is management information systems. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry that's going to come up a lot where I kind of need some sort of a follow up on a question, uh, and then you would just give the follow up, and then because of what because of the way this goes, it doesn't really line up properly, and then therefore I kind of forget what it even means. That's not at all your fault. Thank you, I appreciate that. And yes, sounds good. Uh, Not for analytics, for other things, possibly. I'm looking possibly to employ some people in the future. Uh, Unfortunately, I will not have much money to give. And so if you're looking for something free or inexpensive, then possibly. I certainly won't be able to give the amount of money that most people would like to for sustainability purposes. Do you get a job without how do you get a job without any experience? Do I think building a portfolio with data projects is worth it? For the latter question, the building a portfolio, yes, of course, that is very beneficial. I think that the data science pathway that I have listed is a really, really good way to get all the skills that are necessary. And getting each of those certifications can be very helpful in proving to companies that you do know these things and that you're at least willing to pay and kind of show that you really want to show that you have these skills. Not always the thing that you have to do, although I think a very good idea. I would follow the pathway that I have listed. The things in academic institutions, university, bachelor's, master's, PhD, all of that stuff is very beneficial, of course. And for specifically with no experience, I would really focus on the companies that you're applying to themselves. So, firstly, apply a lot. Um, as well as apply well in this case. You can write like a really long letter or even just, a quick summary of kind of why you're interested in what they're doing. And that actually does help. I've had some very funny success with just writing a bit of a blurb and showing why I'm passionate about some things. Not to say I'm making it up. I'm certainly not. But you don't exactly have to uh, tell your whole life story or give their life story. You can give a quick summary of why you're interested in things, and that will be very beneficial. So some sort of a cover letter, I guess, is what I'm implying. You're very welcome. Yes. Data structures are important for machine learning. Maybe I wish they weren't. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. They are very beneficial. And for writing any sort of code, you probably should know the data structures and algorithms that are very common. Um, if important, which book should you prefer? There's a lot of common data structures and algorithms books and courses. I would recommend the course by University of California, the Data Structures and Algorithms course. That's about step 4 or something in my pathway. I would recommend taking that course for sure. Do I really need to have a model deployment skills to be a data scientist? Yes, just learn it. It's not super bad, and it will help throughout all aspects of programming. About the beneficial courses, when do I need to take the course? After completed all 10 steps or else? Uh, yeah. That's after you've completed the courses or at any time that you think you're able to and you'd like to try. Are data structures important for machine learning and data science? Yes. Sorry, I already answered that. Hello. Hello from Italy. Hi, how's it going? Uh, Flask is a little bit easier than Django. The Django docs are a little bit better. The documentation's better written, but Flask is a little bit lighter. It'll work for free. Message me. Let me know what you think you'd be interested in. Send me an email. You can get my email in or just LinkedIn message. I accept pretty much every connection request on LinkedIn. At least I will until it maxes out. I forget when it maxes out. Send me an email. You can see my email in. If you go to my YouTube about section and click like view email address, you should see it there. If you want real life experience, again, it sound probably you're referring to in analytics, and I don't think I want to hire for analytics. But if you're looking for something, we might be able to work something out. I'm not sure. What does the data science actually do? Do they find a particular number so that they can make a particular decision, or is it something else? What is the conclusion of a data scientist's work? You are bringing value to data, and that is however you think is the best way to do that. Whether that is make a dashboard and make people understand it better and interact with it better, and highlight the important pieces. Whether it is going through some long derivation or transformation to show some particular like confidence interval or p-value about something that is true. Maybe it's about a predictive model, and so you're trying to get some variables to predict some unknown variable, like a regression or a classification problem. Or maybe you're doing clustering where you're kind of grouping and trying to assign data points to a group, or a recommendation system where you're trying to show users, like based off of their history, what they should do next. Lots of different possibilities for sure. What you meant before is that for every data scientist, there are 4 data engineers. Data engineering is way more in demand, and sometimes they have the same ML skills as us. Companies love them. I don't necessarily agree or disagree. I don't think that for every data scientist, there's 4 data engineers in every single company. That may sometimes be true. I'm not sure if it's way more in demand either. Strong data scientists are strongly in demand as well. But yeah, there's an argument for that for sure. Which modules are used to automate Excel using Python? There is some things since Python is so awesome. There is definitely ways to interact with Excel and Python. I don't know them off by heart. I'm guessing it's like PyExcel or something like that. They're generally named something like that. But even though if I type that into Google, like automate Python, automate Excel with Python, there's going to be some sort of a library. Python Excel automation. Yeah, there's some tutorials out there for sure. What is the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? And sorry, Arshia believes they are the same. You don't want a garbanzo bean in your mouth. I will take a look. What is a garbanzo bean? Uh, yep, I think Arshia is correct. Looks like they both mean chickpeas. No, while the two oh, while the two names seem unrelated, they are in fact the same bean. Yeah, okay. There's your answer. What's my opinion on Code Academy and Data Camp? They are basically the same thing, and they are very hand-holdy. Like they'll really guide you how to do things and kind of force things in an unnatural way, but are very useful. And it's not necessarily I'm not necessarily putting them down. That's just kind of the style that they have. Um, Go for it. You can see my recommendation on Data Camp. I do have a video of that on my YouTube channel if you'd like to check that out. Hello, Philippe or Felipe, not sure. Uh, hey, Greg, any comment on transformer based models instead of LSTM? They're becoming increasingly more popular. That's really all I can say. Good idea. Brilliant. Yeah, you could check out Brilliant for sure. Replace garbanzo bean with chickpea in that sentence. Oh, what are you setting me up for? I'm not sure what you're setting me up for, and I don't want to try it. I will try this later. Replace I don't want with I want. I don't know what you're setting me up for. Also, what should I do when I get demotivated? Um, you should motivate yourself. No, seriously, I get it. Of course, everyone I think understands demotivation, uh, but you just have to rely on knowing that as you get better and better, you get better and better. Like seriously, the more that you do, the academic institution courses online, doing your own stuff, you get better and better and better, and you are more likely to be picked up in the future if that's what you want. So keep learning, keep trying. I am nervous. As a data scientist, how much cloud computing do I have to know? Just the basics, understand what it is and how to do a little bit of it. And it would definitely be courses and not books for this. And yes, if you click my pathway there for data science, at the last two steps, I have the AWS basic stuff and then the AWS data science, which would be very beneficial. Okay, I think I am going to call it since I hit the end of the questions. If you have a couple more, then I would be happy to answer before I go. Okay. I was actually completing the official Coursera's data science pathway. Now I'm reconsidering and want to go for my path. Yeah, that's kind of why I titled that in particular, is because it is Coursera's official data science pathway. And I do have my own pathway. They're relatively similar. We share quite a bit of agreement on that. Um, I think that mine's a little bit better. Of course, I wouldn't bother making one if I think that it was exactly the same as Coursera's official one. But either way, it's very strong either way. I wouldn't do any super strong refactoring or going backwards if there is any going backwards to do mine. But they're both great, and they'll both push you in the right direction for sure. Of course, I recommend mine over it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to leave now. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.